Hey YouTube, I built a retort kiln with 2 old water heaters and named him Charcoal Charlie. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I am absolutely excited. I cannot stress how excited I am to present Charcoal Charlie. So, many of you may remember, or maybe not, I don't know. The original, I originally started my YouTube channel because I was going to take up blacksmithing. I was going to learn how to blacksmith. I built the forge. I built a double lung bellows. We did all that. But one of the things I started nearly 2 years ago, this project has been on, is at least about 2 years old. I'm not sure. But I started building a retort kiln so that I could make my own charcoal. And I started building it out of old water heaters. I have 3 old water heaters, and I took 2 of them, I cut them up, and I built Charcoal Charlie. And the idea is that what I will be able to do is, you know, you need certain things to run a forge. You need your forge, you need your bellows, and you need fuel. Well, here in southern central California, coal is not readily available. It has a history of being used. There's around here in the oil industry, there was a coke plant actually east of town that my father helped build, but it's not like you can just go down, you can't just phone in the local coal dealer. You got to order it, and then you have to ship it, or you have to drive out of town to get it, whatever. Charcoal, much more readily available. I can get it in lump charcoal, I can buy it in bags, or even better, if I have my own retort kiln, I can make my charcoal. So let's go over this real quick. All right, let's discuss how charcoal is made. Charcoal is made by basically cooking wood till all you're left with is carbon, or at least mostly carbon. So what we've got is in this upper chamber, this is basically sealed, okay? And this is a door. It's held in place with these 4 large nuts and bolts, and there's a seal on the back side in here. And then I've got a gauge. This gauge is actually off of a barbecue. It goes up to 800 degrees. I don't know how accurate it is, but it just gives me an indication of what's going on. It's set inside. You can kind of see this little lip. This is some really ugly welding. I don't care. And it sets inside this chamber here, which this chamber is a firebox. And inside here we have, that's where we will build a fire. I built a little damper. I don't know how much use this damper is going to be. My suspicion is that when I'm burning, this will either be wide open if I'm lucky, but what's more likely is the door will be open. So I don't know for certain yet, but we'll find out in time. Actually, we're going to find out later today. Anyway, the firebox burns. You know, we burn the fuel. It comes up. We've got a chimney here. I put a chimney flue. Again, I don't know if I want to need it or not, but I put it in there. You know, better now than later. So that's where our heat comes from. So inside the chamber here, which is supposed to be airtight, or at least keep too much oxygen from getting inside, the wood that we're converting into charcoal goes through a few different stages, which is all part of the process of pyrolysis or carbonization or whatever. But one of the first things it does is it starts to, the water content will burn off, so it goes off as steam. And I have a couple of options here. I've left this open for many different things in case I want to try other options later. But I've got a T here. I can take this plug out, and I can let the steam just escape. Once the steam is gone and I start pumping smoke out, which is the early start of gasification, or wood gas is what we're going to start getting, it'll actually force it down and back in through this pipe, down back into the burn chamber, which down here in the burn chamber, back in the firebox, we have right there, you can see it, this right here is a burner. It's a pipe. It's got several holes drilled in it. And basically what happens is all the VOCs that come off the wood will burn. Anyway, what we're going to do here in a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and find a place to set this up in the backyard. I've got some, you can see down in here, there's nothing inside right now. There's, well, some rags that caught fire earlier. I'm just going to put some, I have some clay, the little clay paver, thin pavers. I like to line my fireboxes when I build fireplaces and stuff. I like to line them with that, just to help keep from burning out the bottom of the deal. We're going to load this. We're going to load the upper chamber with some stuff to convert. We're going to load this with some fuel. We're going to light it up, walk away, and I'm thinking in roughly about 4 or 5 hours we should have, the cycle should be done, and then we should have charcoal. And what we'll do is we'll let it cool off, and I'll probably just let it burn tonight and then come back out tomorrow and see if we've got charcoal. So yeah, let's get started. All right, so what we've got packed in here right now is mostly construction waste. So it's like 2x4s and old fence boards and scraps and little bits and pieces of stuff. It probably could be packed a little bit more full, but I think this will work. And it's not going to necessarily make the best quality of charcoal for forging, but we're at this point it's proof of concept. All right, Charcoal Charlie is just burning along. He's doing real good. I checked his temperature. He's been running around 660, according to that gauge, whatever that gauge is worth. It's running. It's really hot. So anyway, I'm just going to let it finish out its cycle, and in the morning, we're going to open it up and see if it did the right thing. So anyway, see you in the morning. We're getting ready to pop open the kiln. Charlie here, the Charcoal Charlie. We're going to pop him open and see how it went. First off, obviously my door is not sealed here. Somehow I got smoke inside the gauge, so it's almost impossible to read it. So we're going to fix that and replace the gauge and stuff. Not really thrilled with that. Also, had a little bit of a leak, and it was leaking here, which I wasn't expecting. I figured it would have leaked right at the seal that I made. The only problem I really had during the entire cycle was the return. So what I've got in the back here is I've got a little check valve, and I don't know that I need a check valve, but I wanted something that would at least restrict oxygen from returning back into this thing, which probably really isn't an issue, but I did it anyway. But creosote is a real problem coming off the smoke and off the wood gas, and what was happening is it was coming in, would go down, and then it would get in here into my return, and my burner plugged up. I thought the burner what it was doing was it would build up a bunch of back pressure in the kiln part, and then it was really blowing a lot of smoke out of here. It'd make it blow more, and then I'd open the vent, and then all of a sudden there was no smoke. So it was like, well, we traced it down, and I opened this thing up. I took this thing out. I took this off while it was running, and then what I noticed was it was plugged up with this creosote. It would get so far, and then it would burn. And when it would burn, it would swell and crystallize, and it would plug it off. So I took it off. I took this off. And then, for a large part of the burn, after that, I thought, well, that would take care of the problem. After that, the problem became, I don't know if we're going to be able to see that real well in there without a light. Come on, there it is. So you can see kind of back there, that mess. That's where the pipe comes in for the burner. And would even plug up there, and I would take a rod, break it out every once in a while. It would relieve the back pressure, and we're not talking huge, we're not talking big pressure or anything like that. But I think I have a fix for that. And but first what we want to do is we're gonna crack this open and see what our yield is like. See if it actually cooked it out, and see if we actually have charcoal. That looks pretty good right there. Oh yeah. That is some, look at that. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. Yep. But, all right, I'm gonna call that a success. I mean, everything charred beautifully all the way through. It's brittle. It's cooked. That might be, no, that's cooked too. Yeah, it's gorgeous stuff. I got the L off the bottom of my burner here, and what I was hoping to find, you can see that it's full of schmoo. It's gross. And what I'm pleased to find is that it wasn't burning this far back. So what I'm hoping is my fix is we're going to put a T here, and then a pipe that drops down, and that pipe will collect it before it enters the burner. As for the leak that was right here on the front seal, I do believe that the problem is right there. It looks like there was a little nick in the water heater, and I just didn't wiggle over and fill that in. So I'll put a little spot on that to plug it up, or grind it out and then re-weld that little section or something. Okay, people, we got it. I think we got it put back together. We're about ready to start. Want to start cutting some wood to fill it back up with and start our next burn. What did we do? Well, I went out and got a new gauge, new thermometer. Packed some insulation behind this one. Maybe it won't leak this time. You saw me weld that little hole in there. I'm thinking that's the only leak. I think what happened. See, it looks like it's been leaking here and down here, but I think what it is it blew in and it moved behind that little ring. And the creosote issue, hopefully what's going to happen is the gases will come through, the creosote will precipitate out of the wood gas and collect down here in the bottom, on this bottom pipe. So where most of the bulk of the gas will go back into the burner. I put the burner back in. I also checked this little, I took a look at this check valve. I may replace the check valve. I may take it out entirely. I did open it up. It was kind of gummy inside. I don't want to build a bomb, but I think what'll happen is during the outgas, you know, as this thing goes through its cycles, I suspect that when it's forcing steam through it, that'll clean it out and free it up, and once it's hot and stuff, it'll work better. So I think we're about ready to start the second burn. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut a bunch of wood to load it with. Maybe tonight we'll have another charge, and we'll see what happens.
Looks like it'll work.
Okay, we've got about an hour and 10 minutes into this. Still burning, still holding. It's pegged at 700. Burners are just going mad in there. Look at that. All sorts of fun stuff. Pretty nice clean smoke coming out of it now. A little bit of leakage here, no big deal. Okay, so literally 5 minutes ago I came out here and videoed this, and now look at it. It's starting to slow down. Look at how beautiful the burner's working. I mean, that is gorgeous right there. I don't know if you can see that. There we go, look at that. Oh, that is gorgeous. And at this point, it should be putting out just about no smoke at all. Okay, you can't even see any smoke coming out of it. It's gorgeous, absolutely brilliant. I'm gonna go ahead and close the door. I think it should be able to do that now. Yeah, look at that. It's we're an hour and 23 minutes into this. Tiny little flames, not really putting out a whole lot of heat now. The gauge is, if it'll focus on that, I don't know if it is or not. So much sun out here. But the gauge is coming back down off the peg. It's looks like 670 degrees. So yeah, all we got to do now is wait for it to cool off, and we're going to check it, and we're going to pop it open and check it for charcoal. All right, we're looking at just under 4 hours since I lit it. We have run a complete cycle. We're down to, I don't know, what is that, 140 degrees? According to that gauge. We don't have any idea if that's accurate. I think I'm gonna go ahead and crack this open and see what we got. Ooh, stink. That is nasty. All right, there it is. Look at that. That's two batches. The first batch was basically construction waste. It was like, you know, 2x4s and that kind of stuff. This second batch was, I don't know, some tree I cut up some time back. Mostly just the heavier branches. You know, a few smaller pieces. But this stuff it's beautiful. I mean, I don't know about that's nasty, but it is thoroughly carbonized. I mean, it's just I haven't run across even the thickest pieces that I had in there are completely cooked all the way through. There's nothing. Yeah, it's perfect. It's great stuff. So that is Charcoal Charlie, and this is a big pan too. So that's 2 loads. Oh, that's heavy now. All right, that's it. What'd we learn? Well, it works. You can make charcoal at home. How awesome is that? Hardwood will be better when I can find some. I'm going to be looking for a source. I'd like to find some old grapevine. We have vineyards in the area, and if I can find somebody that's ripped out a vineyard and lets me onto his property to steal a trailer load of that, that'd be great. I understand it makes really good charcoal, and I have a feeling it'd work really well for the forge. That's primarily why I got it. I do need to make a few more changes to it. I'd like to get a rain cap for the stovepipe. I didn't find actual stove gasket locally because this area is it's rough. I can order it. There is a place here in town that I might be able to get it, and then there's Tractor Supply, which later in the season they'll be able to get. I mean, it's still basically the end of summer right now, and they consider that a seasonal item. What else did we learn? 4 hours. That's great. I mean, this thing was up to 700 degrees in 45 minutes, or, you know, at least this thermometer was showing that. I don't know what that thermometer accuracy is, probably none, but still, really hot in 45 minutes. And it ran, I think it was pretty well done. The burners were pretty well done. About an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes it was done. Really doing the retort part, you know, actually burning off the gas, the gasifier or whatever you call it. It was just a little light flame, and then it just trickled off, and then I think at 3 hours, at the 3 hour mark, it was all the way back down to 200 and something degrees. So, and I let it cool off for a good 4 hours, and it was down to somewhere over 100 degrees according to the gauge. Cracked it open, and you know, we saw our yield. It's beautiful stuff. I mean, it's tingly. It makes that little noise like you want charcoal to make. The little modifications we did earlier with the T, where we put the little collector at the bottom, that made a world of difference. I mean, it really, really did. I did collect that in a little water bottle. I mean, I got like that much in the bottom, so it didn't make a lot, but it made a big difference. If you know what that is properly called, I was calling it creosote. I don't know whether it's creosote, if it's wood, if it's like wood vinegar, or if it's pitch, or if it's a combination of all of that. I have no idea specifically. If you know exactly what it is, leave a comment below. What else? I don't know. I'm thoroughly impressed. I mean, people should be excited by this. I mean, make charcoal. I mean, it's ancient technology, but you mention it to somebody and it's like, I've talked to several people over the last few weeks, and well, many times before that, but you know, I'll mention, hey, I'm gonna make charcoal, and they're like, you know, you can buy that. And that consumerism is just driving me nuts, you know. And like yesterday I had a guy tell me, he said, well, you know, there's a Target right up the road. Okay. But it's brilliant. It makes me happy. I'm going to keep fiddling with it. It'll take a while to get, you know, really used to how much wood I need to put into the firebox. I put too much in it earlier on the second burn, and it got a little bit of a runaway because I had to leave the door open while it was running because it wasn't getting enough oxygen to burn both the wood that I'd put in and the wood gas that was coming through the burner. So it was, if I closed the door, it would automatically start, you know, the excess wood gas was just going straight up the chimney. Big white billowy cloud. I thought there for a while the county fire department was going to show up, but it's beautiful. It's absolutely, this thrills me. If it thrills you, let me know. If you think it's if you think you can do better, let us know and post a video. But I'm loving it. We can make our own charcoal now for the forge. Maybe we can do other things with the forge soon. Anyway, that's all I got for now, so bye.